Welcome to episode of Sittin Courtside. It is the best time of the year, tournament time. Looking at you, camera, right there. I usually don't look at you because now I don't have a screen here. I gotta look at Kyle. But it is officially Wednesday, March 26th. We are right next to Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight weekend. Hand up, real quick. I want to say this now. This might actually be the best weekend of college basketball because the games are just the best.
Mhm.
Everyone loves the first weekend. I love the Cinderellas, but this is what I live for, okay? The Cinderellas can make it through round one. I don't really want them to make it through round two because I don't want to slum when there's only like
Mhm.
four games on each night, but this is going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, absolutely loaded games. Can't wait to get to them, but we have to do the first weekend justice. Like we got to do a recap, but we can't start anywhere but this, guys. We right now, your two co-hosts here are absolutely dominating the bracket challenge. We're both tied atop of the bracket challenge. We have an entire Final Four left. Absolutely crushing it. So I just wanted to boast about us just a little bit to start this fun.
Buddy, worst to first in the matter of 2 days.
Yeah.
I was looking like it was done. Don't care about it. Don't even look at it. You lost. Check it on Sunday after the game. So I'm like, hey, I'm in play here.
Mhm.
First place.
Yep. Both
First time ever, by the way.
point
I'm
one
never within the top
percentile.
10. I'm
Yeah.
never within the top 10 in our when we do our brackets. Crazy enough, I think it may be over. No one would be able to catch me if I didn't make my Yale change.
Yeah. That could
That
be.
would
Yeah.
been that would have been huge for me. Huge
Yeah.
for me. Ole Miss though, all
Yeah.
time change. All
Yeah.
time change.
All right. So we can't recap every game because, guys, we only have like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Recapping every game would take like 3 hours. But I'm going to go category by category, kind of like just give us a quick little rundown for all the weekend. So we're going to start off first here with your favorite game of the first round. So the Thursday and Friday games. What was your favorite game of that first round?
Of the first round. Oh my. Okay.
Mhm.
I think the game I was most forward to watching was Michigan UC San Diego. That was the one I was the most looking forward to. But if I'm just thinking like game, like the game itself was great. And now you're putting me on the spot here. Some of these games I'm going to openly hand up were super late for me. Um,
Mhm.
hmm, hmm. I'm going to go Ole Miss, North Carolina. That was an
Okay.
interesting game
Yep.
for me. I think that was my favorite game to actually watch the whole thing. Again, hand up, I
Mhm.
did not watch the entire Michigan UC San Diego game. I did fall asleep.
Mhm.
Um, but I feel like so many people were on North Carolina. They were like trying
Yep.
to ride the wave of like, oh, well, they're gonna make it through. I know it's like 4 years in a row. A play-in 11 has made it through to the second
Mhm.
round. And obviously, knowing what I just said, I had Ole Miss heavy. That
Yep.
was that was a big game for me to watch, and I actually was really looking forward to them playing Iowa State. Ended up being a dud,
Mhm.
but I'll go with them.
Yep. So I'll go with the one I don't think many people will say because we kind of bashed it all of last pod. But I just had so much on Arkansas against Kansas in that first game that I was just so happy watching that one because Arkansas, like they had a perfect offensive first half, but so did Kansas. So I was really worried going in the second half, down three with 3 minutes left. Then John L. Davis completely saved them. It just made me feel good because I completely told everyone I knew that Bill Self's team has completely given up on him. So I love
Do
to see
you
that one.
do you think the injury had anything to do with Arkansas having a chance to come back there?
I do. I do. I definitely do think it helped for sure.
I think there was a little bit of life in them, but I want to say in the biggest I'm a bitch move ever. Post game, I know they're just kids. They're not kids, they're adults.
Yeah.
Saying that you feel like the double overtime loss in January to Houston, you just never could turn it around. Get over
Yeah.
yourself, man.
Yeah.
One game. You weren't even expected to win in the first place. That ruined your
Yeah.
whole season.
Yeah.
That game ruined your season.
You played like 10 more quad one games after that and lost basically
I
all
would
of
have I
them.
would have respected it more if you've been like, yeah, the home loss to West Virginia really killed that. That makes more sense.
Yeah. And I'll say, man, I kind of forgot how good Boogie Fland is because he
Yeah.
missed like 3 months. That guy is a star.
Well, I said it on the podcast that
Mhm.
Arkansas was going to be healthy, and I had them as the dark horse to win the SEC. That team that showed up in the first two rounds is a team I thought we were getting the entire year. I'm saying it right now on record. Not shocked if they beat Texas Tech.
Yeah, I completely agree. Actually, completely agree. Little spoiler alert for later in the pod, but that's completely okay. Next one, most disappointing team in the first rounds. Who was that for you?
Most disappointing.
Mhm.
You really are putting me on the spot. I didn't put this much thought into these
I
questions.
sent you an outline,
Did
but you don't have
you?
a phone, so
I don't have a
it's
phone. Yeah. Going back to everyone, I don't have a phone. So you sent me an outline. I didn't get to look at it. I'm gonna go Missouri. I don't even care. I'm not even scrolling any farther. Missouri at the
yeah,
first round.
yeah,
I expected more out of them. They looked atrocious.
yeah, they did. They looked
As someone that
awful.
was not a believer in them and was convinced of them the last month of the year, I should just quit believing in them altogether and just kept riding the Drake train with you.
Yeah,
They were just bad.
yeah. I'll stick with the team that our team or conference that we always support, and I'll go with Utah State. Oh my God,
Okay,
were they awful?
that's
Three, I think they were 4 of 31 for three, and this never had a shot in that UCLA game. And it's not like UCLA was playing great offense, but it's mind blowing to me that you're shooting 19% from the field, 8% from three, and you're still jacking up three. So it was bad basketball.
yeah, yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah. All right, so of the first week, and you can pick the first or second round games. Who's been the best player in your mind so far in this tournament?
Best player.
You know,
Man,
and it can be relative of like expectations. Like
this
obviously
is the
Cooper
part
Flag's
where I
played
think
well.
he's gonna be here. This is the part where I really should have looked at the agenda. No, I actually, you know what? I'm gonna go cop out here. Mark Sears for
Yep.
Alabama.
Yep.
He looked unstoppable in the second round game. I would be scared of him right now if I was you in the Duke team.
Yep. Well, I'm going to pick somebody else here for my best player so far that gets to play him literally on Thursday. It's Caleb Love. You know, I don't want to ever give any
Oh my
credit to,
gosh, that guy.
but Sunday's game against Oregon, he didn't play great against Akron, but they didn't need him in that game. That game against Oregon dominated 72% from three, 29 points. And I want to give one more shout out to somebody that played in the very first game of the tournament, so he probably is forgotten. But Jemiah Neal for Creighton, he averaged 12 points, 6 rebounds a game this year. He had 29 and 12 in that game. So I know it's the first game, so probably a lot of people forgot about that, but just want to give a shout out to him because that's kind of a no-name guy that really went off for him.
Sorry, I got a visitor tonight.
Yes, you certainly
One guy I
did.
want to point out, I can't for the life of him. His name is on my tongue. I almost thought about him. The kid from Colorado State. The
Mm,
got the ball
yeah,
late, made the pass for the three. I can't think for the life of me what his name is. He
can't
was a
think of his name.
transfer though from Colorado.
Yeah.
He's a potential lottery pick. That kid played out of his mind the first two rounds.
Yeah. Well, let's stick with this one then, because I'm going to go right to Colorado State next with the best story of the first two rounds. Obviously, the DJ Queen shot, but I just thought honestly, Colorado State proved that the Mountain West is not
Yeah,
as bad as everyone thinks. They should be in the Sweet 16 right now. They're the only Mountain West team to win, and they actually looked like a legit like team that could make a run in the further in the tournament.
that was one of those where I was struggling so much because I was like, I can live with Colorado State winning this game because of the Mountain West. Like the Mountain West, I think actually that helped them because they got penalized this year for last year.
Yeah,
But I was a big believer of the Crab Five. I'm still a big believer of the Crab Five.
yeah,
Tremendous. But if you're asking me best
yeah,
storyline here, I actually think BYU might be the best storyline right
yeah.
now.
I agree.
Be a
Yeah.
BYU believer
Mhm.
because if they take out Alabama, there is not a hotter team in the country.
Yeah, like they're the best offense right now in all of college basketball. Like they just can't miss. 47% from three in the second round game, just absolutely insane.
So I would be curious right now, just this off topic, who do you actually think is the hottest team in basketball right now? BYU or Florida?
I mean, Florida didn't look great against UConn, but UConn, I mean, they played the best game I've seen them play in a while.
Yeah,
I think I think the hottest offense in the nation is BYU. I think the hottest team is Florida. So,
fair enough. And I think BYU is going to give Alabama fits because they do play pro style offense.
mhm.
They're going to understand what they need to do to slow down Alabama.
Well, and it's not like Wisconsin's offense is anything bad. They've scored
Oh yeah,
89 points. They're good, and it's basically just the same style of game now. So,
it's going to be a tremendous game.
all right. So, what else do I have on here real quick? Okay, so did you find yourself? It seemed like the biggest storyline of the first day or this first round was the McNeese. Did you end up supporting McNeese, or did you kind of get annoyed that they were getting all of the attention? It seemed.
I was indifferent to them.
Yeah.
I think I told you when we did the picks, that was one of those I wouldn't be upset. I was
Mm.
actually maybe more upset with that game and the fact that I had Clemson picked. McNeese is up like 25 and only won by two.
Yeah,
I
they
had that brief
completely.
moment of like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this might work out for me. So
Uh-huh.
that might be the more annoying piece of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I kind of knew in my hearts of hearts, like that was a great matchup for Purdue playing
Hmm.
McNeese because they played right into what Purdue wants to do.
Yeah.
Like what made McNeese difficult is their style of play.
Hmm.
When you play the same style of play as Purdue, it doesn't help.
No.
Right? Like that's what happened with Gonzaga Houston. Gonzaga was
Hmm.
the complete perfect opposite of Houston's style of play. Otherwise, everyone else that Houston's going to play plays their style of play. That's
Hmm.
it's you're not going to work for you.
Yeah, I thought it was a perfect matchup, like you said, like for Purdue. They also didn't have to scout basically because their first round matchup was a similar matchup, just with the worst
100%.
team. So they
100%.
basically didn't have to scout. All right, any other notes from the weekend you want to touch on before we start previewing the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight?
I have two things actually.
Yes, go
One,
ahead.
what are your feelings on Kentucky?
Okay. I think I think they're really good right now. And to spoil another pick, I didn't realize they've already beaten Tennessee twice. Last podcast, I think we said they actually got beat by
I
Tennessee
thought they
twice.
had, yeah. I thought
Yeah,
they had.
they're 2-0 so far this season. So I actually really like them in this matchup because I think they're basically playing a home game against Tennessee because
Yep,
they only have to drive up to Indy. So,
that's fair. I just think they look like a different team defensively with
mhm.
Malik Butler playing now. I know
Yep.
he has a shoulder injury, but they look different. And then the last thing I'm going to ask you, and you may actually already have this down, but I'm asking you anyway. Of everyone left in the Sweet 16, what team, if you could change your bracket, would you pick to win their game?
Oh man. So in my home bracket, it's very easy. I would say St. John's, but for the bracket that we did on this show, because I that one St. John's losing absolutely just crushed my home bracket. So for this one, I don't know. I've only lost like two Sweet 16 teams. I guess I would change. I think probably Michigan because I kind of knew in my heart that Texas A&M making the Sweet 16 was just not what I've been saying all
Yeah,
season. And
fair.
now I think Michigan has a pretty decent chance. They just seem like they're just that kind of team of destiny right now, and so that's probably who I'd
That is
pick.
a. I didn't realize until I started looking into it more. The 7 footers for Michigan are going to give Johnny Broom a little bit of trouble.
Hmm.
Auburn's going to be wildly more athletic, but down low, that could be an interesting game.
So what would be your pick then?
So, I mean, St. John's was an obvious one, right? Because
Mhm.
of that, but hmm, you know what? I'm gonna do the silly thing here. I should have stuck with my guns like I did everything else the entire year and kept writing Arkansas.
Yeah.
I quit on them in the first round. I should have seen that coming, especially knowing full well St. John's is not a good 3-point shooting team.
And I think looking at our futures on our
Oh yeah,
site.
I'm
We
dead.
both picked Arkansas as a national champion long shots.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just gave that's
Yeah.
truly like the only team I think that I gave up on the entire year of because everyone else that's in my bracket I basically have been on since day one.
One thing I should have learned, I don't know why I hadn't learned this, but I of course fell into the trap with Xavier. Like they beat a crappy
Yeah.
Texas team barely, and then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna switch my bracket and I'm gonna have them win their first round match. And they never even stood a chance against Illinois. They played like crap that whole game.
Yeah. All right. I got one more. I'm sorry. I know we're gonna go long here. If you could pick right now, I think you have Alabama and Michigan State picked to beat whoever they were supposed to play in our brackets, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have Ole Miss or BYU right now?
BYU.
Okay.
BYU for sure. Just been on them for now like a month, and this offense, I can't quit right now. So,
That's fair. Okay. On to the rest of the show. Go ahead.
all right, well, preview the Sweet 16 here, and then after this, we'll talk about do we want to change it? Like, if we could change them our Final Four picks, would we? Then we'll talk a little bit of Elite Eight since we don't know exactly who'll be playing. But
Yep.
first and foremost, we're going to go with the Thursday night Sweet 16 games. We start off with, let me pull this up real quick. So here are the four games. We start off with BYU against Alabama.
Yep.
Alabama is a 5.5 point favorite, over under 175 and a half.
Pocket
This,
change.
the second game is Maryland versus Florida. Florida is a 6.5 point favorite, and 156 and a half is the over under.
Okay.
Third game, Duke, Arizona. Duke's a 9.5 point favorite, over under 153 and a half. And then we conclude the night with everyone's favorite 10:09 p.m. at best Eastern start. So that's going well past midnight. Arkansas versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a 5.5 point favorite, 148.5 over under. Without thinking about just like the numbers, what's the one team on this slate that if you had to put all your money on them to win, you'd pick them to win? Is it going to be Duke? Is it going to be Florida?
Just the
Or
game or the
yeah,
title?
just the
Duke.
game for Thursday,
Not
Duke.
even questioning it, Duke.
All right, then what's your favorite spread of this then?
Spread,
Yes.
BYU Alabama because I'm taking BYU.
Mm-hmm. Gonna sprinkle? Are you gonna sprinkle on the money line at all?
Yeah, actually, this is what I would do right now. BYU Alabama is going to be heavy for me. I'm going to probably give me the half point to go from like -110 to like -122. We'll take BYU +6. I'm going to take the over in that game, and I'm also taking BYU's team total over in that game, and I will sprinkle the money line.
Okay. That was one of my things on the outline. I wanted to see if you were trying to sprinkle on any of these games. So I'm right there with you. I have everything written basically that you said. I'm BYU, definitely taking them. I'm definitely sprinkling on the money line. It might not even be a sprinkle. It might just be
It
the
might be a
normal
full
wager.
full half unit or going full
Yeah.
unit.
Uh, right now, half, but
Half unit. Okay.
by Thursday. But
There you
then the team I would actually lay the points with or there's not a team I would actually lay the points with right now on Thursday. I don't like any of the spreads. I think
go.
they're a little like the Friday spreads are much better. But I'm going to go back to the well. I finally lost for the first time in 6 bets on this, but right now you can get Con Knipple for 15 more points at even money. It's been working all season for me. I'm not going to bail once, so I'm going with them.
Yeah, add it to my card.
Okay,
Add it to my
perfect.
card. That's we will ride all day with that. And you say this. I think I said this on a previous show I was on. I love Duke until that line gets to double digits, and I think it's going to get to double digits.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, let's move to Friday night where we start off our Sweet 16 games on Friday at 7:09. We got Ole Miss versus Michigan State. It is currently Michigan State -3.5 over under 143.5.
Yep.
Next up, we got Kentucky, Tennessee. Tennessee now this has actually moved a whole point and a half today.
Wow.
Tennessee is -4.5 over under 144.5. Then we go to Michigan, Auburn, where Auburn is -8.5 over under 153.5. And then we conclude with Purdue versus Houston. Houston -7.5 over under 132.5. Same questions.
Okay.
What's your favorite bet?
I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
right now, I hate the card on Friday.
Do you?
It's disgusting. I don't like any of them. The most disgusting game on the board is Ole Miss Michigan State. I don't know what to expect out of that. Michigan State, not a good 3-point shooting team. We know that. Ole Miss, though, they take care of the basketball. Third best in the country in turnover differential. I don't know what's gonna happen there because if you watched Ole Miss against Iowa State, they were a little bit weird to start. I don't know if it's because Iowa State is a quality basketball team, and I still don't know about Michigan State. I know I have a
Yeah.
future on them, but like I don't know what to think of them. So that game was when I'm like, I'm gonna get full eyeballs on and just watch. I'm no betting interest whatsoever because it's just I'm losing money out on a pure guess. But if
Yeah.
you're putting gun to my head, I have to make a pick. I'm taking Houston, Purdue with the over. I think
Okay.
it's 132.5.
Yeah.
Houston, 7.5 just seems scary to me, and I think Purdue is good enough to play with them. And Houston -7.5 is like Duke -17.5, to be fair.
Yeah, that is true.
But 132, Purdue and Houston. Houston's going to play defense. Purdue has struggled with that pick and roll of late, and Houston has the team to do it to frustrate them. But I think that means that because of the turnovers, they're going to speed up the pace of play just a hair, and we
Okay.
get something closer to like 76, 71, and we hit that over.
Okay. And out of their last one, two, three, four, five, their last 6 games for Purdue all have hit over on here. I know it's a different defense they're playing,
Yeah.
but if they get down 10, they're gonna have to start fouling and everything. I really like the over as well. Guys, if you don't realize it though, Purdue is basically playing a home game. Kentucky's basically playing a home game. So I think that's why the spreads are a little smaller than what you'd normally expect for these games. But I'm actually going. My favorite bet is the Michigan State -3.5.
Oh,
They've all 10 of their wins in the last 11 games have covered this spread, and I think it's the rare time where Chris Beard doesn't actually have a coaching advantage in the game he's
oh yeah,
coaching.
100%.
So I'm actually pretty confident in Michigan State but I think it'll be a hell of a game, and I'm glad that's the one it starts with. That's like a perfect like
Oh yeah.
way to start the night.
You're
So
gonna that's a grinded out game right
yeah.
there. You can't get into that. Just quit watching
Oh,
basketball.
yeah. Um, okay, so I was gonna say, is there any underdogs that you want to sprinkle? Do you want to sprinkle on Ole Miss? Do you want to sprinkle on Kentucky, Michigan?
This is tough. This is tough. If again, if I was going to, I don't think I'm going to though.
Okay,
Michigan, honestly.
yeah.
I'm in this
I
weird state of mind where like I know I'm a big Pearl Boat guy, but like it's a half-ass Pearl Boat guy.
yeah.
And I kind of really do like Dusty May when he rocks the yellow with like the blue outline pullover. It's
Yeah,
so fresh on him. I almost want to get it, but I hate
yeah,
Michigan. Can't.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I actually really like the plus if you even buy it up to 9, like buy up the half point. I really like that with Michigan. Just don't see them getting blown out. But if I have to sprinkle on a underdog, it's going to be Kentucky. Just playing great right now. Already have beat Tennessee twice. So I think if a team's going to pull off the upset that night,
That
I
makes
would
me
lean them.
nervous though. They always say it's hard to beat a team three times. They always like that scares me. Which is one
Yeah,
reason why I like Auburn Ole Miss if they play.
yeah.
Auburn's won three games this year against Ole Miss. Don't be shocked. Ole Miss gets the fourth one. Like that would hurt.
That would be wild that you go 1-3 and your only win is to make it to the Final Four.
Correct, right?
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you have this on the calendar, but I have to say it. The South is the most interesting right now. I don't care
Okay.
what anyone says. You look at it, you go, that's a boring region. That is a region of redemption and legacy right there.
Yeah.
You got Pearl and Beard, two guys that have gotten in trouble in the last decade for doing exactly what you can do now, minus
Yeah.
Beard hitting his wife or whatever.
Yeah. You
We
still
don't
can't do that. You
you
still
still can't
can't do
do that.
that.
Um, but then you have Izzo. Can he make another Final Four before he sails off into the sunset? And then Dusty May,
Mhm.
Final Four guy with FAU, beginning a legacy. If he can get
Mhm.
Michigan to an Elite Eight, a Final Four in his first year, the sky is the limit. Like this is the storyline region that I am jacked for because it does not matter what happens in these games. The next game is going to be just as good.
So that brings up something that I haven't thought about yet. If Dusty May says if he gets to a Final Four with Michigan, is there an even bigger school that ponies up and tries to get him to come there?
No, I don't think so, and this is why. The founder of Oracle is the biggest donor to go to Michigan. There's not a bigger donor in the country. He already showed what he'll do for the football team. He'll show up
Okay.
for the basketball team.
Okay. I didn't know
He'll
that,
show
so
up for the
that's good to know.
basketball team. They'll pay his ass. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Kansas ain't coming behind and getting him.
Yeah.
That's not
Okay.
happening.
But man, if I was Kansas and I could find a way to get myself out of Bill Self being my coach and going with Dusty May, sign me up every day of the week for it right
If
now. So,
Dusty May does that, he's dead to me. Speaking of dead to me, did you see my last Twitter post?
I did not. What was it?
Purdue, forever dead. If you know, you know. They 7 points in the last 6 minutes and 12 seconds of that game. I
Oh
lost
yeah,
over by 2 points.
yeah.
Disgusting. They didn't even pretend like they wanted to play basketball the last 10 minutes of the game.
So we're on it. We have time. We don't have a countdown going yet.
Okay.
Do you give Purdue? We have a lot of Purdue fans that listen to this. Do you give them any shot against Houston, or is
Not a
it just
chance. Not a
not a
chance.
chance?
Are you going to the game, by the way, on Friday?
No, it is outrageous
Okay.
how much the tickets are.
I'm going to tell you this right now, live on air. I have thought about if you went going myself.
Yeah. I try I've been looking all week for like StubHub tickets to go down and they just are like astronomical.
I
So
think the only other route you take is you just post up outside of Kilroy's and just hope to God you get a seat.
yeah,
Show up
That
at,
might
show up at 3 o'clock and don't leave.
yeah. Yeah. Just eating breadsticks all day.
That's the only thing you can do for that.
Yeah.
Mind you, that game starts at like what is it, 10:09?
Yeah.
We'll be 7 hours into drinking. We haven't even
Yeah.
started the game yet.
Yeah. Not even close to tip still. Because all these second games, they get pushed back another 20 minutes because the first game goes long because everyone fouls and there's
Oh yeah.
commercials. So
Better actually, I guess if you really want to do a Purdue location, you go to Brothers, not Kilroy's. But
yeah, that's true. All right. Moving on to the Elite Eight.
yep.
What is your initial thought? I know we don't have the matchups. Are you
Yeah.
thinking we're going to see chalk, or do you think one of these 5 seeds or worse can actually push to the Elite Eight, which is Michigan, Arkansas, BYU, Ole Miss?
I do think someone's going to.
Okay.
I don't know who, but someone will.
Okay.
And I think I saw a stat. Don't quote me on this, but I think if Arkansas does not win their game, this will be the first time in 7 years that a 7 seed or higher has not made the Elite Eight.
I think I did hear that too. Yeah.
And this is actually the first year, I think, in the last decade that an 11 seed or higher didn't make the Sweet 16.
Yeah. And if
So,
every
with that information, I think someone will. I just don't know who it will be.
okay. Gun to the head, pick one.
As I say, gun to the head, give me BYU.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. I think that we will see a lot of like I don't think we're going to see multiple of these teams make it. I think we're going to get the one real big upset, and then we're going to have one, two, three, and a few fours and a five or something like that in the
Yeah.
last. So
What would really be the worst thing for me would be if game one on wait, sorry, on the 27th, yes, is BYU gets through.
yeah,
Ton of electricity. There's energy for the weekend, and then we just have a dud weekend the rest of the way.
that would suck.
Like just a dud week. All the
Yeah.
favorites win by like 10 plus points. It's not even exciting.
I mean, if we don't get a fun BYU Alabama game, the rest of those spreads are six or more
That's
right
what I'm
now.
saying. You
So
get a
yeah,
super awesome game. You're like, this is gonna be
yeah.
an awesome weekend, and then it's just like burp, stinks.
Burp. All right. So, did you have anything else you want to talk on the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight, or do we want to touch on the Final Four real quick? I know
Yeah,
we're
let's do it.
gonna.
I actually have a one for you, but yeah, go ahead. What's the final four questions you got?
So, as we mentioned right off the top, that we both have our Final Four. If you could repick, would you switch anybody out? Your current Final Four: Michigan State, Florida, Duke, Houston. Would you? Are you letting it ride, or if you?
We ride or die here. We don't
Yeah,
pull out. We're just gonna push it. We're just gonna post and pray.
we're gonna post and pray. I have Auburn, Texas Tech, Duke, Houston. Obviously, the one I feel the worst about making the Final Four is Texas Tech, but at this point, I think, in my personal opinion, obviously they have the easiest matchup in the Sweet 16 of any team that
Yep.
I have in my Final Four. So letting it ride too, even though if they have to play Florida, I don't know if they can. That offense is top 10, but I don't know if it's Florida good.
Yeah,
So
I still think that Texas Tech can actually give Florida fits. After what I saw UConn did, I think Texas Tech plays the right style of play. Still has the injury problem, but if they can fix that, by fix that, I mean it's better.
yeah,
I
just everyone
think
get
that they can
healthy.
give Florida fits because Florida looked like they didn't know what they were doing whenever the three wasn't open.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the adjust, yes, Texas Tech is top five in offense rating, but they still have that slow pace, which it
Correct.
gave Florida some issues when it was UConn. So
Correct. All right. My question for you then, almost down the same line. If you right now had to change who you have winning your national title, would you and who would it be?
I would not. I think Duke has been the best team in the first 2 weeks of the tournament, and I think everyone knows my opinion on them, and they have the best player in the nation. If I had to pick somebody else, I'm going back. I'm jumping on the hottest team and going with Florida, but I really am very confident in Duke's chances, so I'm sticking with them. How about you?
Okay, I'm gonna stay with Houston because I'm not a raw dog. I gotta stay with my guys. However, if I had the Mafia right next to me, and they're like, if you don't change it right now, or tell me who you think's good, like if you get this pick wrong, you're dead. I'm taking Duke.
Yeah.
They look exactly like the last two UConn teams.
Mhm.
Solid defense, solid on offense. They are going to be a fit for everyone. And shockingly, Mason Gillis kind of works out for him as a seventh guy coming in to play just defense on the best
Uh-huh.
other team.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to help me, their other guy, not Knipple or Tall Boy.
Proctor.
Proctor,
Proctor.
thank you.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Give him just a breather.
Yeah.
Gillis comes in, guards that guy 4 or 5 possessions. Proctor comes, like they have got it figured out. And I can't believe you didn't tell me this. I went down a little rabbit hole on John Shire. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of love the guy now.
Okay.
I kind of love the guy now.
Like you went back to like him as a player, him in high
Yes, I
school?
went all the way down the rabbit hole to when he played high school
Yep.
basketball.
Uh-huh. Did you I assume you watched like the gazillion points in
Oh,
the last minute of the
this
game?
guy, this guy,
Yeah.
just, and then the way he got out of basketball just broke my heart too.
Uh-huh.
with
The eyes, yep.
the whole eye poke thing. Like, by the
Yep.
way, I've played basketball and I've had like a full finger in my eye and like do the whole like I can't see for a couple minutes. It
Yeah.
does freak you out. Uh, yeah, I love John Shire now. I love him so much. I looked at Duke apparel. I'm not gonna lie.
And when you brought up Proctor, that guy is on a heater of all heaters right now. He has hit, let me do the math here, 19 threes in his last 3 games.
Speaking of
19
threes,
threes.
speaking of threes, I want to go all the way back.
Okay.
Can a team shoot worse from three than St. Mary's has the last 6 games?
Oh, they were so bad. I
They said
can't
it
remember the
out
exact
loud.
stat.
They said
Yeah.
it out loud on one of the broadcasts. They were 6 of 76
Yeah.
at 1 point from 3 point. I'm telling you right now, I'm not joking. Okay. It's been a couple years. So, mind you, I think I could literally be blindfolded and you just tell me I'm somewhere on the basketball court and just shoot a direction and I could go 6 for 76.
And
I
you
don't
know it's
anywhere on the court, anywhere. I think I could
uh
go 6 for 76.
and you know it's bad when the coach's answer is, "Well, we got to bust out of the slump at some point." It's like he's got no answers.
Yeah, like I mean, just keep firing, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, could he look worse?
No.
The coach for all like for St. Mary's, he
Yeah.
just looks like a bad guy.
He looks like St. Mary's, I think.
He does really. He like needs to like he needs to like wear a hat or something. Like make hats be normal for college basketball or something. It just yeah. Every time I see him, I'm just like, I don't like you, guy. You have a punchable face. I like St. Mary's, but you, I don't like you.
Yep. Yep. Just to give a quick update, I don't know. I think your spreadsheet is up to date for the Sittin
Yes,
Courtside.
it is.
Um, you're at 198, 177, and 5, which is 52.76%. I'm 421, 356, and 9 at 54%. So again, you made up a little bit of ground, but
Yeah,
it'll be yeah.
I'm just for context for everybody. We said this last time. Like Kyle would have to go on like a massive like he stinks, which doesn't happen
Mhm.
for Kyle like ever. Given the mass, I went 17-7 over the weekend. Like that is huge for the tournament because the books are locked in right now. 17-7. I made up like 0.2%.
Yeah.
Like, like
Yeah.
I'm okay with the idea that Kyle has won this, but I'm here to win you guys money. All right.
Yeah.
17 and
Hmm.
7. If we can duplicate that again and just, I mean, there won't be as many games, but let's just call it like 12-5.
Hmm.
I'll take that.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, next week our podcast will be us previewing the Final Four, which we always get together for to watch it. So that'll be an elite podcast because we'll have be previewing everything that we're hoping to do that weekend. So best of luck in your bets for the Sweet 16. We'll be posting all of ours on Twitter. Go check us out at Mingo Made One, at Kyle Cliffy. We will have all those bets up throughout the Elite Eight, and then of course we'll come back to you for next week for the Final Four. Best of luck this week.
Love you guys.